Hey everyone, and welcome to Angie and Christie Right Now. Our episode this week is going to be our top five, and by our, I mean Angie and I's top five least favorite romance trope. We did our favorite romance tropes a few episodes ago, and now we are going to let you know which ones we don't like as much. The ones that, like, not that I've never read any of them and liked them, by the way. Like I have done, I've read some of these that I liked for sure.
Like some of them are handled well, and then some of them are not handled well. They can be easy crutches.
Yeah.
The story. And so if it advances the story in the way that you want the story to be advanced, then it's fine. Yeah. But if it's just to be used as filler, then it's not that great. So
I agree.
Because I have to say that number 5, I did use it in my story. Right? Like, and I hate this trope, but it worked for the story at the time that I was using it in the story. But I still feel kind of like, Angie, because this is your least favorite trope. Okay.
But it advanced the story.
It did. It advanced the story. I think it advanced the story in the way that I wanted it advanced. So I probably should just say it because I'm feeling a little embarrassed right now. Amnesia.
Yes. Our number 5 least favorite romance trope is amnesia. And amnesia. I think if it's done poorly, it's done very poorly. Yeah. If it's done well, it can work, I think, personally. I think you can say that of any trope, but especially amnesia. I think
it's probably why is used so often in stories, and is used in books, and is used in movies and dramas. Like, people use it in a various different ways to advance certain plot lines that they have. And I think it just depends on how it's executed. And like some people may think that, oh, Angie, you shouldn't have put that amnesia in your story, and I'm not telling you which one it is, and I'm not going to tell you why or where, because if you want to know, you can read my book. But I do feel a little bit like after I wrote it, I was like, wow, I wonder how that's going to be received.
Okay, I think I figured it out while we were talking about this. I do not like when you use amnesia as something that makes it easier to get something done. Like, I don't like it when it's a lazy way out. Do you know what I mean? Like, to me, it's the equivalent of an ex machina at the end of a story. Everything resolves itself because some magical element just explodes and everything resolves. Like, if you have a problem because your character shouldn't be able to remember something and you use that as your way out instead of writing it a different way, then I don't like it. Yeah. If it happens because something happened to your character at the beginning of the book, like, this is not like just poof out of the blue. If there's something that happened to your character and it makes sense for your character to have that happen, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, when it's like, you have this romance, and I'm thinking of a specific, and this is not a book.
Okay.
It's a K-drama.
Okay.
And those who watch K-dramas will remember this particular scene.
But there will be no names.
Where the couple has fought to be together, fought to, they're through the relationship because it was an enemies to lovers, also rich guy, right? And so they fought to be together. And then at the very end, when they're like, okay, their relationship is perfect, everything is going well, fought the parents who were trying to separate them. And then he falls, or I can't remember what happens, but he gets amnesia. And some other girl slides on in, and it's like, everyone's telling him, this is your girlfriend, and this is who you're supposed to be with. And, and he doesn't remember that, oh, I don't like this person, I'm in love with this other person. And I hate that. It drives me insane. It's like, I don't like it. Like when they like try and slip in,
Yeah, no, I don't like that. I also don't like when you have to do the same thing over and over again to get that same person to like you over and over again, or something like that. Like that.
It was like the 51st dates or something, or
like, I'm not going to mention any names or whatever, but
well, see, that's the one I kind of like, though. Like, it's your least favorite, it's like you said, it's like there's some that work really well. Like,
yes.
Groundhog Day type. Where you have
like I like Groundhog Day.
Where you're like living the same thing over and over again, but the other people, they never remember, like you hadn't had the same conversation with them and they don't remember. So
exactly.
I don't like they have amnesia, but they don't.
Exactly. And the also the trope where like they're living a happy life and then she or he bangs their heads and they are in the hospital and the wife or husband walks in, they don't remember them, and then you have to court them all over again. I'm sorry, I just not my favorite.
No,
It's not my favorite. So anyways, it could totally be somebody else's favorite. I am like, please, by all means, read those books, see those movies. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, sometimes I like it, and then sometimes I really
I
hate it.
don't. Yeah, exactly. Because I do like Groundhog Day. So yeah. Okay.
All right. Number 4. Okay. So this kind of goes along with number 5. Breakups because of misunderstandings.
Okay. You have no idea how much I hate trope. Like, and hate is a strong word. This is not my least favorite trope. This is, I will not read this book if this is what it is, because usually these misunderstandings could be solved in 2 seconds if you just went to see the other person and asked them.
I hate that. When it's so like, it's like a simple conversation can clear up the whole thing. You know, you have these rumors. People are rumored, you know, someone's telling you that this person is doing something, or this guy's, you know, he's cheating on you, and you know, or he's in a secret, like all you have to do is go ask him, right? But you don't.
Exactly.
Oh,
you know, like those tropes were like, or those books or movies even, where like one of them, the girl or the guy, picks up the phone and it's like he just sees the end of a text message, or a text message that says like, hey, see you at hotel blah 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 at 5 p.m. and immediately they say, oh my god, they're cheating on me. Like, just go to the next room and ask. Like, I mean, that's all you need to do. You don't need to break up. You don't need to fly off. You don't need to leave. You don't need to pack your bags. I can't stand it. It's like, it brings me back to like, and I'm so dating myself now, Three's Company. Like, that entire show was built on misunderstandings, because Chrissy or Jack would be listening at the kitchen door and hear something, and it's like, oh, and then the whole, like,
well, because you know what it is? It's a lack of trust. That's basically what the entire story and relationship should be built on, trust. Like, you're supposed to trust the person that you're with. And I understand, you know, that not all people can be trusted. And that's kind of, when you're starting a relationship, you don't know whether or not you can trust them or not. But that just kind of, for some reason, that really just annoys me. Is like that lack of trust, that, you know, and it makes me not like the person who's not being trusting in the relationship more than the person who's, you know, maybe, you know, I don't know. It just, I really hate that too.
I don't like it. I think it's a lazy man's way of creating conflict. And so if a conflict can be resolved with one conversation, then it's not truly conflict, it's made up conflict, and I don't like it. That said, I am probably going to pick up a book tomorrow that has the same thing and like enjoy it a lot. So whatever.
I know, right? Like, it depends on how it's done. It's like, that's the thing. It's like, you just don't know, because you can get that one book and you're like, oh my God, stupidest thing ever. Why aren't they breaking up? But it's so good.
Exactly. So, you know, it is what it is.
Right.
But for right now, I don't like that trope.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. So number 3 would be kind of along the same vein, you know, breakups because of misunderstandings. And then you have jealous exes. Oh, it's like when you have that ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, ex-friend who's like dipping their toes into your relationship, you know, and you're reading the story and you're like, why is this person giving this person who's no longer supposed to be in their life, like no longer, so much weight, like so much time, so much of their energy, and neglecting this other person who they're trying to be in a relationship with? It just,
I completely agree with you. Like, especially like ex-lovers is one thing, but ex-friends too, or friends that like you used to be friends with who just stop by and say, oh, by the way, I heard you're dating so-and-so and you don't know, but he's done this or she's done that or whatever. Like, to me, I agree. Like, they're living rent-free in your brain at that point. Why are you listening to that person? So
like, you know, the ex is wanting to get back into a relationship with that person, and like, and you're giving them the opportunity and making let your new person be jealous. Like, oh, I mean, it makes for a great story sometimes, but then sometimes it is just annoying. Like,
I know it's one of those things that's going to make me want to put the book down. Like, I might finish the read, but it's going to make me want to put the book down for a while to just like become zen about the whole situation and start over again. But I was just thinking about it. The single worst scenario is a jealous ex combined with a misunderstanding. Like, if the jealous ex creates a misunderstanding, I don't think you could get something that's worse for me. Like, that will make me so angry. It's not even funny.
I know, right? the person's an ex for a reason. Like you broke up for a reason.
Yeah.
And you're in a relationship with someone else. Why are you hanging out with your ex? Like, and I mean, I can understand if you're still friends and like they're supportive of your relationships and that kind of thing. But it's when it's like, especially in a story where they're being manipulative and like, oh, I just hate that because
like that happens all, like I've read so many books where like the ex will like make sure that when your new boyfriend, like, and it can be girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, but when you're with your new boyfriend and he leaves to go to the bathroom, he comes back and he's got his arm around you so that he's, like make the other one jealous, that thinking that there's something going on where there's really nothing going, like that kind of thing.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
But then again, I mean, like we said, I mean, we're like naming off some books that we read that had it in it. So.
Exactly. So, it is what it is.
So number 2 was that alpha male with the passive woman. So where the guy is really domineering and is a complete a-hole, and I really just dislike him so much because he just doesn't respect the female. Like and it can go both ways. I mean, it could be really dominant woman with and whatever scenario it is that you're talking about. When there's a couple. Where one, there's a balance of power that is not equal.
Correct.
And there's no respect.
Correct.
So where they use the power to dominate the other person and not respect them for their own wishes, and there's no reciprocal where they just let it happen, like where they just kind of like are bullied the entire book. Like, and you're just waiting at some point for them to like say, no, stop doing this to me. I have my own thoughts, my own feelings. I don't want to eat the same food that you eat and wear the clothes you want me to wear. And, I just don't like those kind of books because I don't like that.
No, like dynamic. It's like,
it's abusive to me. Like, it's, it's just abusive.
It truly is. And I feel like, especially nowadays, like, I mean, women are not like that anymore. And there's definitely something like, you can fantasize maybe about something like that, but like the reality is when you read it, it falls flat now. Like, it's just not something that is fun to read. Like, I mean, you want the woman to at least stand up for herself. And what to me makes it even worse is when all of the inferior, being like the secondary person of the couple, gets told by all of his or her friends, this is not good, you're not in a good situation, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, nothing gets through. You know what I mean? Like, that to me is
especially since there are actual real relationships out there where there is that imbalance and stuff.
Yeah.
And, you kind of want, if it starts out that way, where you're trying to show the evolution of the character, they eventually learn how to stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Yeah.
It's another if it just becomes, if it's like seen as normal where that happens. And I don't know. I just don't
find it romantic. I think that's what the problem is that it's not, to me, it's not a romance trope at that point. It's just like, it's a stronghold, like the one person is like holding you hostage almost to their feelings. And to me, it's not romantic in any kind of way. And I think that when I'm reading a romance, I kind of want both of them to be on equal footing so that it can be a balance.
So you can actually see why you would fall in love with this person. Like, I mean, I don't see any reason why, like, personally, why I would never fall in love with someone who would do that to me. And I know there are people who definitely, like, everyone has their own ideas and views on romance and what they really like in a romance.
Absolutely.
These are just our feelings.
Exactly. These are our top five. Exactly.
Or at least romantic tropes, right? Like, we don't like that kind of romance, right? Like,
and like we just said before, like you and I might pick up a book next week that has something like that, and we're like, oh, well, this wasn't good, this wasn't bad. I mean, like this was, so again, it's our number 4 least favorite for now.
Yes.
Or number 2.
Number 2. So now number 1, which I have no idea what it is because I can't. I forgot. Yeah. All right. Great sex fix. Can't say it. Great sex fixes. Christie, go ahead. You do this.
Now, our number 1 least favorite romance trope is great sex fixes everything. It drives me insane. insane.
Right?
Yes, you can have an episode of great sex. Does that mean that everything that you thought that was happening in the last 200 pages of the book immediately like get eliminated?
I think it's like you shut your brain off. Oh, I'm just gonna enjoy this great sex, even though I really, really just like this person to the max. Like, but
Right.
it's like great sex right now.
Right.
No, like it's not a relationship to me. Like it's
No.
not like something long term. I mean, it's something fun, right? Like
Yeah, like I mean, if you're reading a romance book, usually it's because you're thinking long term. You want the happily ever after ending. You want them to be a couple, even for like a little amount of time. And to me, like if the guy is either an a-hole or he's like a stooge or he's like like he has like girlfriends on the side or vice versa, it can also be the woman that's the same way. Like and then you have one night of great sex and everything is
fixes everything.
no, it does not.
Right? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
To me,
Because
that
the
is
problems
like
are still there.
you're just masking them. Like you're just thinking that everything. It's like the endorphins, really.
In romance books, that is one of the hallmarks of romance is having a great sex scene in your book. Yeah, sometimes you read books where they just completely forget the plot. And right, there's a plot there somewhere, and we're supposed to be going in a direction for a romance, not just erotica, and so, but it becomes just all about this, and they never truly resolve what the issues were in the story.
Exactly.
Or they have this really surfacey layer, like, where it's like, just, okay, it's going to kind of gloss over the fact that I had all of these issues in the relationship that I built up over like chapters. And then, yeah.
That's right. No, I want the happy ever after not to be because they had great sex. I want it to be because they truly are meant for each other and their problems were now resolved. All of them.
And I like it when they have like where you can see the relationship where they start having conversations or things that they find that they have in common, and you can see the relationship building over time. And personally, I like it when it takes a while before the sex even happens.
Absolutely.
I like those little things that that build the romance up first in books and in movies, like in like drama. I don't like when you just automatic, because you don't have any emotion toward the characters at that point. You don't care like what's going on with them if you don't even actually know the characters, and they're like all of a sudden, oh, okay, we're gonna jump into bed together and have no foundation whatsoever. And so I know maybe I'm old-fashioned in that way, but that's what I like in a romance novel.
I totally like a slow burn. Yeah, like I want them to get to know each other. And what would be really cool? Like I'm just thinking because writers, but I'm thinking like like you could have two characters who like fall into bed and have a great night of sex and think this is the best relationship in the world, who then realize a little later on this didn't solve anything. That I kind of like. Like that's and then they work towards fixing it. You know what I mean?
One night stands where they like meet up and there's chemistry between, because we're like back onto the things we like. Right. They just kind of meet and they're like, oh my God, I really like you. And then over time they realize that is more than just that one night.
Exactly. That I'm okay with.
Yes.
I'm okay with. But even if you realize that there are things that you don't like about the woman or the man, and then they try to fix it and it works out, I'm okay with that. But the build up, and then one night of great sex, and that's the end of the story.
This basically the end of the story. Yeah, that's where it's like, I went through all that just for this.
Right, exactly.
Like all this emotion for like.
That's exactly it. Because if you've ever been in a relationship for any amount of time, you know that great sex is great, but it's not going to solve all your problems. So there. Awesome.
Well, that was fun.
See you next time with another top 5. Bye.
I know. I'm like sitting here thinking about.
Bye.
Let's go read the book.